I'm about to show you how you can double your e-commerce brand's email and SMS marketing revenue in just 30 days. And I'm about to show you the exact process that we use to do it so that you can replicate it for your brand. So before working with us in March and April of 2024, this brand was doing about $4,000 a month from their email and SMS marketing. Not very good. They really were lacking on their flows. Their campaigns were not going at a good rate. Then after just 30 days of working with us in May, we got more than a 2x increase in their email and SMS marketing revenue, hitting over $9,000 a month with zero big promotions or sales or anything like that. We simply just came in, set up a strategy that we know works because we've done it multiple times in the past. And now they're making 2 times more from email and SMS than they were before. Then June came along, and this brand happens to run a really big sale in June, and we helped them capitalize on that big summer promo and hit a record month with over $38,500 from email and SMS marketing alone. As you can see, that's more than a 4x from the month that we already doubled their revenue. So that's a massive jump, and it's all because of the system that I'm gonna be talking about in this video. If you want to simply boost your revenue and you don't have to worry about all the little small tactics and principles like that, just focus on these 4 core things we're gonna go over in this video. So number 1 is deliverability. This is always the first thing we tackle when we start working with a new brand, because if your deliverability isn't on point, your sending practices aren't good, your domain health is bad, the content is not optimized, then you're simply not gonna convert anybody because they're not even receiving your content. And your email list is a very, very effective way to get in constant contact with the people that already know and love your brand. So deliverability is something that you really need to always have a finger on, because if not, it goes south, and then all of a sudden you're landing in spam, you're landing in promotions, and you don't know why. Now, when it comes to deliverability, there are 3 things we really want to focus on. Number 1, you've got domain health. Number 2, you've got your content optimization. And then number 3, you've got your sending practices. So starting with domain health, we really want to make sure, from a high level, we want to make sure we have your dedicated sending domain set up and working properly with Klaviyo. This is now mandatory. It's not just an option. You have to have a dedicated sending domain, or your emails will automatically land in spam because of the recent changes that Gmail and Yahoo made. The other pieces of domain health that come into play are the 3 DNS records that you need to have running. So number 1 is the DMARC record, number 2 is the SPF record, and number 3 is the DKIM record. If you want the specifics on how to get those set up, in the description, there's gonna be a full 81-page document that you can get your hands on for free. It literally walks you through step by step how to implement all of that, and you can get it for free by hitting the link in the description. So that's domain health. The other 2 aspects of deliverability come down to your content optimization and your sending practices. Starting with content optimization, what really matters here is using more text than you already are. So with this brand, they were using a lot of image heavy stuff that just weighs down the email, and more importantly, it does not look good to Gmail and Yahoo spam filters, which is a huge red flag. So what we did is we came in and we added our primary tab footer. If you want to know exactly how to set up that primary tab footer, there's another video on the channel here showing you the step-by-step process. But aside from the primary tab footer, you also want to be incorporating text-based blocks into every email that you're using. If not, you just got an image heavy email and it doesn't look good to Gmail and to Yahoo, and you land in spam. Moving on to tip number 3 for deliverability, you've got your sending practices. So for sending practices, really what you want to be doing is making sure that your sender reputation is high. So that means send to your most engaged segments more often than the other ones. Make sure your open rates are sitting above 40 to 45% on average. Make sure that your click rates are at least 1% on average, and then make sure that the sales are actually reflecting that, and that it's not just fake numbers that happen to be inflated because of some issue in Klaviyo. For example, at the time of recording this, click rates are really inflated, and it's hard to tell if you're actually doing well. So the best way to actually know is by looking at your sales numbers. The second tip that you really need to incorporate, in a huge lever that we pulled in this brand, is your opt-in form. Even the best e-commerce brands that we all know about only convert about like 3 to 5% of their website traffic onto their email list on a monthly basis. So what that means is that 97, 95%, even more, are going unnoticed. They are not being converted anywhere if you don't have a great opt-in form. So what we do is we came in and we set up an opt-in form that's converting extremely well for them. They're not converting 7 to 8% of their website traffic onto the email list, and we're testing to get that even higher, up to like 10%. And the reason that's valuable is because a lot of people aren't going to be ready to buy right away. So we want to be able to nurture them and make sure that they're ready to buy at some point in the future. If you want the full rundown on how to set up a really high converting opt-in form, there's going to be a link in the description for that 81-page email and SMS marketing document that will teach you exactly step by step how to set up a high converting opt-in form and test it every single week. Point number 3 is their flows. There are 14 key flows that every single e-commerce brand should be running with. I'm gonna list them out for you right here. You've got your welcome series, you've got your 4 abandonment flows. So that's site abandonment, browse abandonment, abandoned cart, and abandoned checkout. And then you have your 5 post-purchase flows. So that's the first time buyer series, repeat buyer series, VIP flow, customer win back, and sunset unengaged. So that's the 10 email flows. Then you've got 4 SMS flows that you really want to have running. So that's the SMS welcome series, SMS response flow, SMS browse abandonment, and SMS abandoned cart. Getting these set up really only takes 20 to 30 days, and it might take a little bit longer if you're working on your own on the store on your own. But if you have a team, if you hire a team like us, we can come in, get these set up for you within 3 to 4 weeks. And then you've got everything you need to run automated with these flows, and they're gonna generate revenue on autopilot. Now, again, if you want the full rundown on each flow, the exact setup in Klaviyo for each of them and how you can incorporate the best content into each one, I have a full video on the channel here that you can check out, but we've also got a full rundown on that in an 81-page email and SMS marketing training guide. If you want access to that for free, it's linked in the description. I can't go into depth here because it'll turn into an hour-long video, but you can get free access to that and check it all out for yourself. The 4th and final thing that we did for this brand was revamp their campaign strategy and their campaign creatives. So when it comes to campaign strategy, there are 5 things that you really want to take into account. I'm gonna list these out for you and then give you my general consensus on how you can decide for your brand what you should do for each of these 5 points. So let's get into this. All right, so the first thing you need to consider when you're building out your campaign strategy is your sending volume. This is something that you need to iterate on all the time, like probably every week. You want to be looking at the results you got from your campaigns, deciding, do we want to send more, do we want to send less, what's the audience responding to? So for this brand in particular, we upped their sending volume from 1 to 2 emails a week up to 3 to 4 emails a week. The important thing to note here is that their unsubscribe numbers did increase just a bit when we went from 1 to 2 emails a week up to 3 to 4 emails a week. Overall campaign sales doubled by doing that. The second thing to consider when you're formulating your campaign strategy is the number of plain text emails that you're going to use versus design emails. If you sell a more health related product like supplements where you solve an acute pain point, you're gonna want to use more plain text style emails. If you sell something like t-shirts or clothing like this brand did, you're gonna want to use more design heavy emails. Third thing that you want to consider in your campaign strategy is segmentation. So we mix in a lot of different segmentation here. We use engaged segments, non-buyer segments, buyer segments. This really depends on your audience and what you want to optimize for. For example, a brand that has subscribe and save might optimize for getting more buyers that aren't on subscribe and save to get on subscribe and save. A brand like this that was a clothing brand, you might want to be using more non-buyer segments, getting them to buy for the first time. Fourth thing you want to consider in your campaign strategy is value content versus promotional content. This again varies a lot based on the brand and the product, but if it's a brand that sells something like t-shirts or clothing or something that's more aesthetic, more promotional content will probably do you better. But again, this varies a lot based on the audience as well. So if the audience tends to respond better to value-based content rather than promotional content, you might want to start optimizing for that. But to give you an example, brands that we see that sell like supplements, health products where people need a lot more copy and a lot more convincing, they tend to respond a lot better from value heavy content. Fifth and final thing that you need to decide in your campaign strategy is SMS volume. This one is usually pretty simple, and we'll just go to 1 to 2 SMS campaigns every 1 to 2 weeks. And we'll usually just stick to the most engaged segments for those campaigns. All right, and a massive part of campaign success really comes from the way that you are segmenting down the list. So that was number 3 that I went over in that 5-point checklist for your campaign strategy. Now, if you want a free breakdown on the exact campaigns that we set up for brands and that you can set up for your brand as well, if you go back to this video on my channel that we just posted recently, I walk you through the exact segmentation that you need to set up, how to set them all up, and you can get them set up within 10 minutes of watching that video. And if you want help with that and you want a team that can set things like this up for you, and you want to possibly get a transformation like the one we talked about in this video, then I'm gonna leave a link in the description that you can click on to book a really quick call with me, and we can talk about the exact problems that your brand is facing and how we can possibly step in and help you guys out. All right, so there you have it. Those are the 4 core aspects that we use to double this brand's email marketing revenue in just 30 days. And these are the 4 things that you need to be focusing on if you want to get a transformation just like this for your brand as well. Either way, leave a like on this video, leave a reply with any questions you have. I'll get back to you, and subscribe to this channel if you're not already. Appreciate you watching. Hope you got value. I'll see you soon.